This is Bernie Sanders, the independent senator from Vermont. Recently, Sanders has hit the road with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in what they're calling the Fighting Oligarchy Tour.
The whole world is watching, and they want to know if the people of America are going to stand up to Trumpism, oligarchy, and authoritarianism.
Yeah, stand up to Trump and the oligarchy, woo! But I have one question. How exactly?
Well, I hear you telling people out there, fight back. What do you mean, though? How do they fight back?
Well, it's the question. We're working on it right now.
Bernie Sanders has been in Congress for over 34 years, and that's the best answer that he can come up with.
You even asked Bernie in your interview, what do you want to do? And he said, well, we're still coming up with an answer to that. That's literally what he said.
How do they fight back?
Well, it's the question. We're working on it right now. But I think simply, first of all, coming here and showing the world that Americans are not going to sit back and take what Trump is doing is a good step forward.
Holding a rally in a very blue district in a state run by Democrats? That's not going to change anything. So how do you stand up to the oligarchy? Apparently, by complaining about it.
These guys already have billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions. How much money do you need?
But billionaires don't have billions of dollars lying around. A billionaire refers to someone's net worth. Their wealth is typically tied up in a mix of assets like stocks and real estate and businesses and other investments. In other words, Bernie Sanders doesn't know what a billionaire is.
We have a serious problem with people who are addicted, right? We got a serious drug problem. We got an alcohol problem. We got tobacco problems. We have people who are addicted to one thing or another. But I will tell you what I think the worst addiction in this country is, the most dangerous.
Video games? TikTok?
The greed of the oligarchs.
So Bernie Sanders, who will be 87 years old in 2028, is unlikely to run for president for a third time. Although stranger things have happened. So the question is, who is his heir apparent? Well, according to reporting by the New York Times, though there is little agreement about who will emerge to guide progressives into a post-Sanders era, virtually everyone interviewed said there was one clear leader for the job: Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York.
Now, it's this idea that if we just work hard, we too can have nation-state level money. Except these kinds of spoils aren't earned. They aren't working for these billions. They're stealing them. Just look at what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are doing to our health care, our veterans benefits, and Social Security. They are slashing programs that we and you have spent a lifetime paying into. And by the way, not them, because those billionaires haven't paid their fair share of taxes in years.
Well, she sure sounds like Bernie. But that's not the only thing that they have in common. Both have very little to show in accomplishments during their time in Congress. Since 1991, Bernie Sanders has sponsored a total of 3 pieces of legislation that became law, 2 of which were to rename post offices. The other is the Veterans Compensation Cost of Living Adjustment Act of 2013. And considering that similar bills have been introduced and passed on a yearly basis over the last 25 years, it's hardly a groundbreaking piece of legislation. And Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is just as unaccomplished. Of the 46 bills that AOC has sponsored, 0 have become law.
One of the ironies is seeing AOC out there, an incredibly good fundraiser, an incredibly good spokesperson on behalf of the progressive movement, but a congresswoman? She's in the lowest 20 for actual accomplishments out of 435, mind you, in the bottom 20 for accomplishments as a legislator.
Not 20%, you're saying 20.
20 human beings. She's renaming some post offices.
Yep, Ocasio-Cortez has co-sponsored 14 bills renaming United States post office buildings. You're doing God's work, AOC. Again, she didn't sponsor these bills, she co-sponsored them, which is about as meaningful as a Facebook like. She didn't write the legislation, it just means that she supported the work that someone else put effort into. A recent CNN poll asked Democrats which Democrat leader best represents the core values of the Democratic Party. Yet despite having no accomplishments whatsoever, 10% said that person was AOC. 9% say Kamala Harris, 8% say Bernie, 6% say House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and Barack Obama and Jasmine Crockett both came in at 4%. In other words, the Democrat Party has hit rock bottom. Sad, really. So the New York Times puff piece about AOC claims that she is what's next if she wants it. Oh boy. But what is next for AOC? Well, the Times says that she has 3 options. A, she can focus on staying in the House of Representatives. B, she can run for President of the United States in 2028. Or C, she can run for the Senate, as Chuck Schumer is up for re-election in 2028, assuming that he doesn't drop out beforehand.
Alexandria is extraordinary. I am so impressed by her work in Congress.
Guess it doesn't take much to impress Bernie.
And she inspires young people all over the country.
Would you like to see her joining the Senate?
Right now, we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
Well, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
Wow. Bernie's a fragile little
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
Fine, but I don't want to talk about this.
Look, attempting to abruptly walk out of an interview is not a great look, and I'm not defending it. But to be fair, Jonathan Karl asked a pointless question. The election for that Senate seat isn't happening for another 3.5 years, and AOC hasn't even hinted that she's running yet. Plus, endorsing AOC in a primary challenge against Chuck Schumer, the current leader of the Democrats in the Senate, even Bernie Sanders knows that that's wrong.
What was the last question?
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier to. I mean, I want to ask you about your future. This is the biggest crowd. You said you ran for president twice. This is the biggest crowd you've ever seen. Are we going to see you run again, or what's your future?
Right now, I am very proud that the people of the state of Vermont sent me back to the Senate with 63% of the vote. I am 83 years of age, and I'm tired.
Well, good thing that Bernie Sanders only has 5 years and 9 months left in the Senate. But if Bernie decides that he's going to run in 2028, his opposition is going to play that last soundbite in every single campaign ad.
I am 83 years of age, and I'm tired.
Paid for by Gavin Newsom for president 2028.
And on that note, follow me on X at Don't Walk Run. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you next time, if there is next time.